episode 546 of This Week in League. I'm Nate.
And I'm Glen.
And someone will or won't be here. Just depends if they can stop the fucking tears from the announcement today of James Fisher-Harris signing, being released from the final year or final 2 years. I'm not sure how many years he had left on there. But at the end of this year, he'll be going to take up a 4-year deal with the Warriors.
It's a deep cut, that one.
And it is. It's the end of an empire. Even if it does, even if it wasn't to end anyway, like now it's definitely gone.
Look, I don't know about the end of an empire, but I've said for a long time when I've spoken about Penrith, and I'm extremely impressed by what they've built there, and the academy, and the the system and the player pathway philosophy that they have. And I've said for a long while that the whole thing with that team now is or for some time has obviously been centered around Yo, Cleary, Edwards, and Fisher-Harris. And as long as they had those guys, I feel like they're always going to be okay, because that system and the pathway and the academy and the nursery that they draw from, and when you look at, when Kikau left, there's no shortage, with all due respect to Kikau and his ability, there's no shortage of big edge back rowers that, can run good lines and make punishing tackles, right? So I feel like they assessed that, and it was like, there's about 900 potential kick-outs coming through the system. We'll find one. Crichton was another one. Okay, massive edge-back rowers that maybe haven't quite developed to the extent to be an edge-back rower, but they've got good footwork and they're the right frame and good hands and fast. Okay, there's probably 900 Crichtons coming through the system as well. Appy was the first one where you're like, there's not another one of them,
Yep.
And it's a credit to Ivan's coaching that he made the adjustments to how they play to counteract the difference in the level of creativity that they had from 9 once Appy left and you had Kenny go in. Fisher-Harris is one of those big pieces, and the first of those big pieces. Even Luai, I feel like they can do without Luai and still be the same. Yeah. But Fisher-Harris is a big domino, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And, maybe insurmountable. I guess we'll find out, though, won't we? So, look, it would be a big blow, you'd imagine. I saw some Manly fans. I was saying, imagine how you felt when Foz left, and that's what it would be like. That's what it would be like today. Yeah, Panthers fans would probably be feeling. Maybe not. Maybe maybe you need to be more Cleary to be like that. But I don't know. But we shall see how they go, and we shall also see what's the machinations behind the scenes. I mean, one, it was absolutely quiet. There wasn't even a hint of a rumor. And maybe a lot of that is because New Zealand guys aren't going to talk to Sydney journalists anyway. But also, he's only just extended, right? And so he had is he got another 2 years after this?
2 years, yeah.
And so, what happens to make that deal happen that's not against the rules? Because there's no pathway for them to negotiate anything with him until the end of next year, right?
Well, they clearly they have, because he's requested a release.
Yeah, because they've.
And I'm loath. Exactly. I saw
kind of like what happened. Kind of like what happened with Fanua Blake as well, I think.
Yeah, but
back in the day,
I saw a screenshot of a quote from Paul Ken. I didn't watch the NRL 360, but he basically alluded to that. Are you trying to tell me that he requested a release, and then lo and behold, the Warriors are there with a full blown offer on the table just moments later.
Yeah.
Like, no, that doesn't
Exactly
matter.
like when Fanua Blake left Manly. So, look, and we know that, and like if this weekend proved that, I mean, like the Warriors are fucking shady cunts. So, it's it's certainly not outside of their fucking. It's not outside the realm of possibilities. Let's just say. Is there any other news things that happened this week? I can't remember. That's a big one, right?
Yeah, the biggest.
Right. So, should we go on to the games then?
Fuck yeah.
So we tell you, without that fucking anchor on tonight, we can really blast through these things. We can get this show done in like fucking 30, 40 minutes. Like the way that we want to do it.
I love it.
Anyway, the round that was, round 6, Thursday night football, the Roosters 22 defeated the Knights 20 in Newcastle. And another one of these close games at Newcastle, probably could have won, should have won, but didn't. So they find themselves languishing down in the bottom portion of the table.
Yeah, I think they'll rue some of these games come the back end of the season. Ponga obviously wasn't 100 for most of this game. Did well to stay on the field, but there was a period of time where he was absolute liability. Injured his hip, and then still from their own end almost stole it right at the death. But Roosters obviously down on some troops and really leaned on some of their experienced campaigners like Keary. Brandon Smith, I thought, really stepped up. And, yeah, it's, they managed just to find a way. Joey Manu as well. Remiss to not mention his game. But they just managed to stay a step ahead of the Knights once they actually took the lead and stayed in, just edged in front of them. And it'll be one of those games where I think the Knights probably would have thought that, they had done enough to win, but in the end, it's another close loss for them. And it's going to be a very tight race heading into the finals. I don't think the Knights are a top 4 side, so they're going to be, scratching and scraping for those bottom 4 positions in the 8, and these sort of results could be a death knell, come the later rounds of the season.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't really concern myself with the draw of any other teams other than my own, so I'm not sure how theirs stacks up in terms of... But they've played teams at this end of the season that I wouldn't consider to be teams that are difficult or not going to be there. I mean, they got the Storm when the Storm were at their weakest that they'll probably ever be this season.
Yeah.
And so they got that one out of the way and they got a win there. But I'm not sure how many other great finals bound teams that they've been really playing. And I don't know what their draw looks like on the way home as well. But hopefully it's difficult. Fuck them.
Fuck those guys.
And I was tell you one thing I was impressed about. I forgot about all that Jennings bullshit, right? And it was funny, when East were trying to fucking make a celebration of the whole thing, and they're he's got kids and he's running out first, leading them onto the field, and the Fox Sports, I don't know if you're watching it on Fox or whatever, but on the Fox Sports commentary, it's like they didn't even fucking mention him. They were just talking about, they were just talking amongst themselves, and they didn't even acknowledge the fucking thing. So it's not often that we can give a that we give credit or shout out to the commentary team, but on that occasion,
whether it was by design or not, or whether it was by NRL directive, who knows? But it's got to stink about it, that whole Jennings situation. But I understand the Roosters have an obligation to sort of back the guy and show that they've got his back, but.
They can do that, but they can also do that in the confines of their dressing room
and their club
captain's run and that sort of stuff. They don't necessarily have to make it a big fucking thing, especially when there's been so much, at least in circles that I've seen, so much blowback.
Yeah,
on the way they've carried on as well. So what do we got here? I'm going to look at the socials. I got the socials up. Matthew said that the Knights without Ponga is like Para without Moses. It's like taking Paul McCartney out of Wings. And so with that being the case, if the Knights are Wings and Ponga's Paul McCartney, Who's the crazy fucking vegetarian bitch? AKA Linda McCartney of Newcastle Knights.
Tyson Gamble.
Yeah, there you go. Put it out there for you. You smacked it down. Nice. Stuart said, Joey Manu, a metre per game the rapist has played. Very good. What else have we got here? Nick makes it. Did you watch Robbo's press conference? He says that Robbo's press conference was tense. Are you okay, Trent? I can imagine he must have been getting he must have been getting a line of questioning on the old on that attitude. Daniel says, I'm surprised Sutton didn't read the Roosters a bedtime story and kiss them on the forehead. They were lying in the ruck long enough all game. Yep. Bailey said that Lindsay Collins looks like a retarded baby.
Interesting observation.
Oh, Tay. Oh, where's my fucking things gone? Here we go. What's the next game? Here we go. The Storms 16 defeated the Doggies 14 down at the Korean Housewife in Melbourne. And look, the Doggies were up for this one, and they could have, like, they really competed well for probably 76, 77 minutes of this game, I reckon. Yeah. And it's just when they came down to, I mean, the Storm this season have proven themselves to be incredible about, dragging a win out of the jaws of defeat. And once again, they did the same thing in this game. But man, the Dogs actually had time and field position and shit to try and work their way back. But in that last couple of minutes, they got fucking nothing out of the likes of Birdo. I'm not even gonna say Addo Carr was responsible, because even at the end, they had that last set where they had like a minute, or no, not even, wouldn't have been a minute, would have been like 30 seconds or something like that on the clock. And so they get the kick off, and then it was just kind of like a 1 out run from Curran or something. And then it was one play and it was all or nothing at the end. And Fox is just saying, look, motherfucking just do something, put it up, do something to get it out over here, over this way. And it ended up just being, I can't even remember what they ended up doing, but it wasn't that. It was threw the hands out the other direction.
Just fizzled out. I think it was a pretty glaring example that one team knows how to win and the Bulldogs need to learn.
Just a lack of composure, though, from the people who they're paying a lot of money to lead.
Yeah, you would expect, really certainly from Burton. He's played in premiership winning teams. He's played Origin. Even Crichton was involved in one of the late tries that the Doggies scored. But otherwise, he had a fucking shocker. Yeah, so. I was impressed with the way the Dogs sort of hung with Melbourne and did enough.
Yeah, they competed. They competed really for a solid 77. Yeah, solid 77 minutes they competed for.
But you still felt like Melbourne just had a level of confidence that they were still going to get the job done.
Yeah.
Xavier Coates with one of the best games of his career, and still found a way to be shown up by the Fox. It's just.
Yep.
Yeah.
Once again, the Doggies are in that position where the Foxes all. Yeah, that's this thing that it's a position that the Doggies have found themselves in for the entirety of Josh Addo-Carr's time at the club.
Yeah.
Where him being, pretty much the only attacking threat, and and find a way to get the ball to him. And he can sort of make some things happen, but Jason said, if you ever need an example of how important a quality halfback is, just watch the last few minutes of this game. A makeshift half does not know how to finish a game properly. Still, it's much better effort from the team compared with last season. Agreed. Matthew said, Dogs have lost the Para, Sharks and the Bunnies. If we played them now, we would probably beat them. This team is building slowly but nicely, and if you watch them without the baggage of the last couple of years, you would think they're a chance of making the 8. Add a quality half to that team and imagine the difference. Connor Tracy, a shining light at the back. Well, okay, where's the quality half then? He's not coming through the season.
No.
So I would imagine that without that, I mean, Sexy Boy's the only real option you've got there. I think. I mean, I'm not sure what's going on in Reggie's, but Sexton would be the only option.
I know. I've said it before, but he's the only legitimate 7 they have in the club. I'd live and die over the course of the season with him at 7. Let him, and said it in previous weeks. Let him settle into it. Let him warm to his task, and I actually think because he doesn't need to be a superstar. He needs a kicking game. He needs a bit of direction and bark at the forwards, and get the ball to Burton and Fox and those guys and Crichton.
Yeah, speaking of Burton too, I mean, Burton's put his fucking kick away too. His towering bomb.
Yeah,
I tell you, I can't remember who I was talking to about this, but I was talking to someone the other day about Burton. I'm like, honestly, what's he getting from the doggies? Roughly.
No, not sure.
You getting let's say he's getting 800, let's say 700. What would he something like that, wouldn't he? They wouldn't have just throwing $1 million on him or anything. You'd be like,
no.
But honestly, that fucking guy should just get a proper manager, go to the States, try out for an NFL side.
Definitely.
Make $900,000 or $1 million US a year, taking no fucking contact or minimal contact, putting up bombs, 10 times a game or something like that.
Yeah.
And just and live in fucking dream. Honestly. I mean, you don't have to do this to yourself, buddy. You actually protect your brain. I mean, like the punters and kickers are the very only ones that get out of the game without fucking
unscathed,
brain damage. Yeah, so yeah, do it. I'll do it. What's the cut? 6%. I'll do it for 5. Now, look, I've got to give a shout out to Terry, who had a lot of comments in this, but it's kind of hard to pick which one. But he went on a sequence there at the end of the game. He went on a sequence of about 6 or 7 in a row, all basically about the refereeing, and his final wrap up was about as expected. Dogs working hard, not enough polish to convert. Storm getting some hometown reffing and a fluky try. The Dogs have to beat one of the top tier teams soon, though, not just the mid tier teams like last week.
Fair assessment.
All right. Yeah. Now we have the other Friday night game, the Battle of Brisbane. The Broncos 28 defeat the Dolphins 14 at Suncorp Stadium. And again, the Dolphins fucked by injury, in-game injury, irreplaceable in-game injury, which happened to the Hammer.
The Hammer.
But and it's funny, the final score. It's funny, the final score doesn't really represent much of the game at all, because the Broncos lead was, it was predicated on not intercepts, but essentially things like that, against the run of play stuff happening, like a kick getting collected and brought back, or a drop ball getting collected and brought back, and they had that bomb. Yeah, and then they had the one where then they scored their next one off a drop bomb, and there was just 12 of them where they're ready to pick up the crumbs and get the try, and they scored a couple back to back like that, and then that put the game beyond all doubt, because I think it was 10-6 when that started, and then that's when it blew out to 28-6, and then the Dolphins got a couple of tries at the end as well, just to make it a little bit more respectable. But it's too many mistakes.
Yeah, and
that's the thing with the Dolphins. And that's the thing against teams against the Broncos too, I suppose. You just can't let them have those essentially intercepts ish, against the run of play. Error try. You just can't do it.
To the Dolphins' credit, they didn't get completely blown out, and still had enough in the tank to rally as best they could. But much like we say,
it did look dangerous at a time there. Yeah.
Yeah, much like we say with the Dogs and Addo Carr, when you have a player like the Hammer who's just that explosive speed and footwork at your disposal, to have him off the field, he's such an integral part of their gameplay, their game plan, and to have him out of the game without the opportunity to prepare for it it's massive for a team like the Dolphins, and they just don't have the quality of game breaker outside of the Hammer that can step up and if he's out. So because that's the roster that Bennett's compiled, and the style of play that Dolphins play works really well, but without the Hammer, they come right back to the pack. So for the Broncos, the difference in the energy of the Broncos with Walsh in the side as opposed to out of it is significant, given that he's played 2 seasons of first grade. he'll be better for the run, and he still had some Welsh moments in the game. Runaway try being one of them, but I think the Broncos probably wouldn't mind getting that one over the Dolphins, and it was good to get Walsh have that run under his belt as well.
Yeah. Oh, look, the Broncos defended well, and before the hammer was gone as well. So you have to give the Broncos some credit there. Grover said the moment the hammer was broken, the Dolphins were fins down, and Corey Oates. I mean, after all this time, and didn't want to play down at Burley, wanted to get the recall. He had a fucking Barry for the first how long it was. I mean, and that was the worst thing about the Hammer's injury. I mean, he got injured trying to stop Corey Oates score a try. The whistle had blown fucking 10 minutes prior, and there was no need for Corey Oates to keep running downfield with it, and there was even less need for the Hammer to chase him and then try and tackle him and then injure himself in the attempted tackle. Like, that's probably the worst part of it, because it was just such an unnecessary dumb cunt thing to do, for an injury. I mean, I know it's play the whistle and everything is what they say. Well, fucking play the whistle. The whistle blew 20 minutes ago. You the cunt still go. I mean, it wasn't like Corey Oates was going to put it down and they were going to look at it. I mean, it was done. What do we got here? Kevin said the scoreline flattered the Broncos a lot. I feel like the majority of our tries came against the run of play. Make your own luck and all that, but if the Dolphins hold the ball, they probably would have won this. Walsh was peak. Hail Mary score, every play mood. Yeah, I still think the Broncos would have won, but the scoreline would have been a lot closer if the Dolphins didn't give them 3 tries. Because at the same time, if the Broncos don't build that lead, then do they let the junk time tries come in? Don't know.
True.
Toto said, honestly, in 5 years' time, the Dolphins will be the way of the Titans. Send them to Perth now. Can't now.
Sounds like someone feels threatened.
Yeah. David said, both teams completed at 67% and made 33 errors between them. Made for an objectively shit game to watch. Show ponies shouldn't be too proud of that. They'd struggle to beat legitimate top 8 sides playing that way. I hear you. As we move to Saturday, and the Warriors 22 drew with the mighty Manly Seabs Eagles 22. And under trying conditions, this was actually a really good game between two sides, hopefully, that are going to be thereabouts at the end of the season, certainly finals-bound teams. The Warriors obviously got a bit more hype behind them at the moment. And fuck me, that's like a hard away game, hey? Like the noise coming out of that stadium is like...
There's nothing quite like Warriors fans, even Kiwi
like an English
fans,
soccer.
Yeah. Like we've been and watched tests. Remember the test match
when we went to that game,
to Gold Coast?
Yeah, it was crazy. And like that test match down at Hope Solo down at the Gold Coast, and that was that test match we went to, or Anzac Day test, I think it was, wasn't it? And it was fucking crazy. I mean, it was like it was an away game for the Kangaroos.
You felt like you're at Eden Park.
It was crazy.
It's
but this
it's
one,
amazing,
same,
how Kiwis will rally when, it's down tools and there's no scaffold to put up. I tell you what, they'll get behind their team.
Yep. And this one is like, it's weird, like, like you sort of feel like it feels like a loss at first, but then you think about it, and like, honestly, I actually felt more like a win at the end of it, just because of the fact that with guys injured and out of position and shit, and like losing Ben Travojevic right at the business end, and having like a useless cunt like Aaron Woods there, so much so that they didn't want to put him on. So like some of the other props were playing like much longer minutes, and Toph Sipley was playing. I mean, he's going to be out for probably 2 or 3 weeks potentially, with a knee problem. And I mean, he played like a massive stint in the second half, plus the Golden Point extra time as well. And so down on troops. So actually, and the way the running of the Golden Point went, with the referee giving them a fucking penalty every chance they got to kick them down, and giving them like 2 or 3 like incredible opportunities at short range to kick field goals to win the game. At the end of that Golden Point period, it felt fucking great, like, because it got away with the point that we absolutely shouldn't have got. I mean, Sean Johnson choked a goal and choked a field goal from right in front as well from about 20 metres out. The fuck he missed it, I've got no fucking idea. But Sean Johnson did earn his money for the Warriors with absolute fucking cheating cunt move of fucking booting fucking Alloy when he wasn't even trying to charge. He wasn't even charging down. He put pressure on, and then he just sort of the kick's gone away, and he's just like basically just started. He actually was running sideways, not like towards Johnson, but Johnson just sort of left his leg out there, got the contact on his leg, and then watched to see if the field goal was going over, and when it wasn't, he started fucking grabbing his leg like a bitch. Absolute fucking cheat. I'll fucking say it to his fucking face. I swear to God, send him down to the fucking Westfield fucking Bondi to go and do the fucking groceries. Stop. Like, he's on that list now of like, guys are like and respect that not in your team and stuff. But now he's on the list of fucking cheating cunts, and the respect is gone. Should never have gone to golden point extra time, and but it was a good game though, and both sides came to play, and hopefully both sides are there at the end. Your comments, sir. DCE, just fucking God mode game again from DCE.
I figured that you would have plenty to say. Thought it was as a neutral watching the game, it was pretty entertaining. You're right, a bit of gamesmanship from Johnson to get the result, but to push it into extra time, and ultimately they'd be pretty happy to come away with a point for a game that they were seconds away from losing. So
yeah, exactly. I can't believe that when they're getting penalties, they're getting the penalties called, and we weren't getting penalties called in Golden Point. We didn't get. I don't think that we even got to within like 45 metres of the goal line in the entire 2 periods of Golden Point extra time, and so there wasn't even an opportunity really to get a shot off. Whereas they had a couple of sets where they started, like a halfway, and for whatever reason couldn't get it fucking done. So very very unclutched performance from Sean Johnson, the cheat. But God mode game from Daly. Tommy's starting to warm up nicely. It's all coming together, and over there it's going to be a very fucking tough road trip for people.
Yeah, agreed.
What do we got here? I'm just trying to find comments from not from through the game, but from after the game. James said, it turns out the road to the grand final is not paved in scaffolding.
Nathan, the scaffolding would be along the side of the road.
Yeah. Nathan, who's not me, he said, I've just lost a multi that was going to pay for a bag after that charge down call. These refs need to be held accountable for this. Jonesy, Sean Johnson could get a call up to whatever New Zealand soccer team is called. Where are we here? I'm not going to read the massive refs fault ones. And Graham said, Sean Johnson is the least clutch player in rugby league history.
Wow.
Ordinarily, I would say, come on. That's a little bit harsh. But no, I'm going to all out. Fuck Sean Johnson. The Eels, 27, defeated the Cowboys, 20. Now, this one, I missed the majority of it because I was actually out. I had family out this weekend, so I missed quite a few of the games. It was funny. I was going out for dinner, an early dinner on Saturday night, and had to get there about 5. And it was probably about half an hour away, so we're leaving.
It is early.
And so we're going down, just going down to fish and chips or whatever, hang out down by the seaside, and I had to leave home about 4:30 to get there, and so the Manly game started at 3, so it's just 8 minutes or something so we're in the car, and it's funny, we're in the car and I'm watching it on KO on my phone, but the radio was on, and that call was easily 25-30 seconds. The radio call was 25-30 seconds ahead of the KO, so it's just so fucking frustrating. And then we got there and it was still in Golden Point, so I'm just like, okay, you guys go ahead, you know what I want. And I'm just sitting in the car, just listening and watching till the end. And they couldn't tell because they're like, did you win? Nah, didn't lose though. Anyway, didn't see this. I was out, so I didn't see this one at all. But it's fair to say I was extremely surprised by the result.
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed in the Cowboys, to be honest. But I will say, it's a bit of a steadying of the ship for Para. Primarily, what I was most impressed with from them was there was some real hustle plays defensively that showed that, they were clearly starting to get a little bit desperate to find some form and get a result. And, to do it against the Cowboys is impressive. To do it again without, Moses and the way that they've been playing is even more impressive. So, pretty important result for Para, I think, in the context of their season and trying to get some positive results whilst Moses is out. So, I was disappointed that the Cowboys, I feel like
watching the mini, I saw that I could see that Peter Goff was the referee, and I tell you, Peter Goff at Combank for a Parramatta game, that cunt's starting to reach mythical fucking
really
like Barry Gomersall at Lang Park in an Origin game level, like that kind of fucking vibe. I'd love to have socials, but it's like there's literally 4 comments on the thread, so everyone was like me and just thought, let's just avoid this game. Jordan said that this game is like watching 2 retards fight. It's literally a coin toss as to who gets the retard strength at the end to win.
Jesus.
I mean, perhaps he did that midway through the game because there was a point there where the Eels did get out to a reasonable reasonable lead, and the Cowboys sort of did try the comeback thing, but they got out to 2 tries, didn't they, at some point there, which was enough to seal the win for them. Where are we next? The Sharks 34 defeated the Rabbitohs 22 at Sydney Olympic Park, and this one was billed as like the big game. Demetrio was getting sacked, whether they won or they lost. He dropped Damien Cook. Latrell's out suspended. All this sort of stuff going around the game, and I do have to say, if any of that was the case, it seems like it probably wasn't. He was very defiant in the post-match press conference and everything like that, like he was going to fight for the job, and it seems that the performance here of the Rabbits might have bought him a little bit of time or grace to see what happens. I saw that David Ferner got appointed today as a assistant coach there, and they resumed their coaching partnership when they were both assistants when the Cowboys won in 2015. Yep. So I guess that that seems to be a supportive move of appointing a guy that is that Demetrio is comfortable working with and stuff as well. It's not like they're appointing some guy that's like clearly like a head coach in waiting and he's going to get fucking sacked and then it's going to install this guy. As for the performance, I mean, the only 2 things from this game that I really took away was it was a much better performance from the Rabbits. They actually did play with a bit of fight in them, and Tom Burgess was great leadership. From him, with some some nice charges and a good try. And the other thing was, it was just like a fucking God mode game from the Moot.
But he had an absolute wall
for the Sharks.
Absolute worldie.
I wonder if he got any or many. I wonder if he got any or many Dally M points. Compared, or did Nico get 6 again? Yeah, exactly. He should have. He should have.
Look, I felt like Cronulla were in control for most of this game. South did rally late, and overall, as you say, their performance was much improved, enough to keep a guy's job that they've been playing like they've been trying to get him sacked for the last several weeks. So I'm not sure about that. The Vultures are still circling. There's still plenty of South chat in the media, but I was impressed with young Gray. He had a impressive first touch. He's lightning. I don't know that he's the size. When you go from a fullback like Latrell, when you go from fullback like Latrell in that side, and then put Mighty Mouse in there, it's fairly stark contrast. But I I just don't know about South. Cody Walker's still very much out of sorts, although he did have some good moments in the game. But
he looked much better in this game. Yeah,
he's still a long way off. Even just looking like he's competitive or wants to be competitive, he's still a long way off.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would
good
agree.
Good win for the Sharks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was a good win compared to the opposition they were up against and everything though as well. If they've had a charmed fucking draw so far, and this one doesn't do anything to dispel that either. I mean, South's where they are in the ladder is one thing versus paper, but in this game, even the paper fucking advantages of South are largely out of the side as well.
No Latrell, no cookies.
Yeah, exactly. As I look through the socials, I just wonder how Stepdad does it week in, week out. John said, "What a coach killer of an ending to the game. At least South Sydney went down trying." I'll give Mitch this one with his NRL season episode reviews, and on this one he said, "Fun, visceral, quirky, violent, silly, extreme, and in its own way sweet. That is a few of the words that can describe this visual extravaganza. What makes it such a good episode? It's fast-paced, it's witty, it's charming, and most of all, honest. An important episode of the genre, 5 out of 5 stars." And he's fair to note that he is a Sharks fan. Literally the only person who's given that one. Yeah. Now, where are we? This one, mate, I didn't see, so I'm going to need to give you you're going to have to give me the full fucking breakdown here. Because I saw the line score and I was just like, no, this can't be. The Dragons 24 defeat the Tigers 12 at Campbelltown too. A big crowd with Campbelltown too.
Big crowd, sellout
17,000.
The MacArthur people got out and supported the Tigers, and Gus Gould had an interesting comment that some of these lesser teams are like the Tigers when they have a big occasion. Obviously the Keith Barnes thing. Keith Barnes, we saw it before with Tommy. Big crowd. They're just not battle hardened. They don't have the experience and don't have that winning culture to go out there and still put that performance together, regardless of the occasion and the crowds and the external energy about the game.
You would think that an inexperienced side though would, if nothing else, they could just take the hype, or the build up of the energy and throw something out there,
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think, and I will say, I've got an apology to make, not to Dragons fans because they're all still cunts, but congratulations on your win. Did get a little bit of a rap from Lando saying that he's always respected my ability to to talk shit, but also accept the ramifications and the fallout of my shit talking, and it's probably something I pride myself on. But my apology has to go to Kurt Mann. I've said some very hurtful things about Kurt Mann, and I've suggested that
you've suggested that he is no less than the worst player of all time.
In the NRL, exactly. But Nathan, I was wrong. And recent events over the past several weeks from a player in my own team, sadly, has wrestled that mantle away from Kurt Mann.
Is it Bud?
As much as it pains me to admit it, but Jaden Sullivan is... by a long way, not by a small margin. He hasn't just pipped Kurt Mann at the post here. He's streaked away at the home bend, and just got the whip out, and he's streeted the field as far as the worst player in the NRL. Fucking diabolical, absolutely fucking diabolical. Defensively, he has no fucking idea. Misreads everything, clearly not a good communicator. And then in attack, which was apparently the strongest part of his game, which is why we signed him to this bullshit contract. Absolute liability. Every time the ball went anywhere near him, everything stopped. The pass was, if he ran it, it was a wrong option. If he threw a pass, it was behind, too low, too high. Killed all the momentum. like rugby league herpes. Fucking give me a break. Get the fucking bloke and put him in reserve grade or somewhere below reserve grade. Get him playing park football. Get him the fuck out of the NRL. And whatever you need to do, I don't care what calves, blood, peptides, full-blown steroids. I just keep Lockie Galvin and teach him to tackle so he's not hitting people high and getting suspended or hip dropping people.
Is this his last game out or has he got another one?
Yeah, no, he's back this week.
Okay.
But put him at the 6 and keep him there. And don't put 14 on...
They're fucking trying to. He got suspended.
Just...
He wasn't dropped.
Just whatever the fuck you need to do. Don't put that cunt. You know, it's the greatest hatchet job in history. You know, Trotters, like I talk a lot of shit about Trotters. I do. But I also have a tremendous amount of respect for the man and a deep love that that is hard to explain about a guy, you know, for a guy that I've met 3 times in my life. And, you know, how he didn't show enough respect for me to say, hey, this cunt is fucking hopeless and it's going to be really frustrating in watching him play for your team. He's had first-hand experience.
They liked him though, didn't they? They liked him, didn't they?
No, I remember when we signed him and everyone was, and every Dragons fan I saw was like, oh, fucking good luck, Tigers. And now I can see.
But they weren't being like, you know, just salty because they lost their guy or anything, right?
No, I didn't get it, and now I see why.
Yeah.
Look, the Dragons started well. The Tigers did not, for reasons I've already mentioned, being overhyped and not handling the occasion. The Tigers never really recovered, and St George's, to their credit, just kept coming. And, you know, Lomax was great. Hunt's, you know, his kicking game was a little bit one-dimensional in the fact that he's just kicking the piss out of it and giving Lomax enough time to catch it and create. But, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It come up dividends, you know, 6-7 times in the game. Just keep fucking doing it. Don't hate it. Sewer was good. That's one of the best games I've seen him play for a long while for the Dragons. And, yeah, the Tigers have, you know, I was really disappointed because we had been building something and, you know, the loss against the Dolphins, whilst it was disappointing, you know, there were some positives to take out of how they hung in there and you know, sort of rallied. And but this one was, and Benji said it in the press conference, you know, they've been building you know, professing that they're working on standards and holding everyone within the club and, you know, to a certain standard as to how they prepare and certainly how they play. And if that's the standard we're in for a long season, I don't think it is. And Benji suggested as much. That's not what we're about now. So it'll be interesting to see if they can dust themselves off and you know, pick themselves up for Penrith this week.
Just on Sullivan, you're paying him $50,000 a year more than we're paying Brooksy.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of bad deals in my time. Believe me, Manly just got themselves out of one.
It depends which side of the equation you're on. I don't think Bud Sullivan thinks it's a bad deal.
Oh, well, no, but I mean, he's like fucking Robinson Crusoe. And you know what? If he's got a wife, I guess she loves it. And kids, they probably enjoy it.
His manager's probably loving it too.
So his manager's getting a fucking cut, yeah. Steven
It begins and ends there.
we'll do it. Steven said, West Tigers are at home in a tribute game with a sellout crowd. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
Eye-rolling emoji. Sam Power said, please, guys, don't stop believing in the NRL's entertainers. even you've stopped believing, which is weird. No. I mean, you went several years in a row without stopping believing in the early days.
Right. Correct.
Liam said, well, we've had a few weeks that suggested things might be changing in Tiger Town. Now we've realised they are not. It's a bit harsh. Although this one definitely is not as promising as the effort. It's more like the last
several years than certainly than the last few weeks, that's for sure.
James said, if you put Ben Hunt in that Tigers team and Tommy Turbo and Payne Haas and prime Greg Inglis, Tigers win this game. Oh, Phil reminded, he said Clemmer tried his hardest to get a rest, but the ref just wouldn't put his fingers up.
Yeah,
How the
really
fuck does fucking Aloye find himself in a position where he's got to take a week early plea, otherwise he's gambling against taking two for nothing? And Clemmer
with his
got a
history.
couple $1,000 fine. Yeah, with his history and what he did on the field, a couple grand fine. Fucking ridiculous. Giannis said, I don't know what the attacking options the Dragons are going to have next year when Lomax is not going to be there to make Ben Hunt's ordinary bomb kicks look like precision-guided weapons. We should have let Hunt go and kept Lomax.
Well, that's a big call.
And, of course, that was ratified as well this week, the 4 years for Lomax at the Eels.
Yeah.
So, I don't feel either here nor there about that. It's like,
I think it's a good signing. It's a good signing.
But where's he? So, I mean, he'd have to be playing centre, right? Because he was so tanny about being on the wing. So, yeah. Moving on, final game of the round. The Raiders 21 defeated the Titans 20 in Canberra. And the Raiders, they did the extra time. They did the extra time right. And the Titans, again, have something to cry about in terms of the refereeing.
Look, there's a fair bit of that.
It was some spicy press conferences and there was a bit of an altercation between the two coaches, I'm told, as well, in the dressing room before Ricky didn't go full Ricky in the press conference because they won, but the way the story went was that Hasler confronted him in the dressing room telling him it was bullshit, and so then Ricky made a decision at that point that when he was off to his press conference that he was going to double down on how good the refereeing of that particular situation was, which made it extra spicy. And we had Graham Annesley come out at the refereeing review on Monday saying that, yes, Chevy was offside and he was the one that charged down the kick from Foran. So, yes, he was offside. The bunker couldn't rule on it because, like forward passes, there's no, sets of six don't always start, tackles don't always start on a line. So sometimes it's hard for the bunker to adjudicate whether they're on the line or whatever. I mean, they can adjudicate on offside and stuff though when there aren't lines in the field. So, but apparently that's not the same thing. And watching players leave from a certain spot at a certain time. But he also then wanted to say that, yes, despite that though, the Titans, watching the game tape, the Titans could have been penalised like an additional 28 or 32 times or something like that for offside during the game. So it was kind of like, you did get wronged, but shut the fuck up because you could have been absolutely anal-fisted on the referee.
Could have been smashed regardless. But look, bit of heartbreak for the Titans fans. They put in much improved effort than what we've seen from them so far this season. But the Raiders, I think they should be not a 1 point better team than the Titans. They should be something like a 30-point better team the way that they've started the season too. But
also like the statistics in that game, I have to pull them up because I saw them at the time, and it was quite unbelievable that the Raiders, like as far as like possession they had in good ball situations, like attacking the Titans line, they had some ridiculous amount of. I mean, because the Titans outscored them in tries, but I mean the in terms of the field position and the field position in good positions, the Raiders had so many tackles in the 20 of the Titans, and they got relatively nothing for it. So their attack was like I thought that the Raiders were a much better side than they showed in this game.
And
they had almost 60% possession, but yeah, I mean they absolutely dominated in pretty much every attacking and field positional and possession statistic that the game has.
Yeah,
pretty much. I mean, the Titans got them in line breaks, but I think some of that was at the end as well. But Titans on a big losing streak again, and how about Brian Kelly? How about Brian Kelly though? like it came down to it, missed the easy goal,
Yeah.
and he came down to a non-goal kicking guy on the fucking sideline in an away game, getting it from the guys on the fence, and then he fucking nailed it.
Clutches it.
Yeah. And it got them exactly fuck all competition points. You hate to see it.
But then again, you love
what do
to
we got
see it.
here? Yeah, well, we've got quite a few comments on this one. Let's see how we go. John said, "Thank God for Desi's Titans and thank you, refs. That was a diabolical effort." So I'm going to say place John as a Canberra fan. Well, here we go. Scott said the best Raiders player was named Casey Badger. Some of those calls were atrocious, like ignoring strangers Shepherd running the golden point and the offside players who charged down for him. It's an indictment on the Raiders that I can even pull out this confident refs faulting because you should have towed us by 60, but instead your late game was folding like deck chairs and getting the rub of the green to help you out. The Gold Coast sporting curse continues undefeated. Graham said foreign still match fixing. Brendan said, last week I asked a TWiL Raiders supporter if the Raiders could back up after a big win. If the Raiders can win being dead set favourites at home. He said, no, Titans by 12. I picked Raiders, but not as my last man standing team. The game is about to kick off in Golden Point. So he was looking for a loss, obviously, there. Where are we here? Ben said, a dirty win is still a win. Taps with over 300 metres was huge, and the young guns pull us out of the fire with the Stewart charge down and Stranger's game-stealing line break. The future is bright.
Positive. Dairy Queen.
That was Strange. That thing with that line break as well. It wasn't like it was a line break in the way that you think if you just heard about it. The fact that it was Golden Point extra time and he got the ball, and I don't fucking know where he was, but like what? They're 20, his own 20, yeah. And he sort of ran to the sideline and ran around the fucking team, and made like so many meters. I mean,
sixes.
What the? Yeah, that exactly. He got it in the middle of the field and just ran around. I mean, if they had scored a try off it, they wouldn't have been given because he didn't pass it. So,
That's it.
But like, I don't know if that's just a side that's been absolutely exhausted. I mean, what the fuck is going on the right hand side of the Titans there? They have zero pace available to them.
The same thing that's going on the left hand side of the Titans, and also quite similar to what goes on in the middle at the Titans.
All right, and that is it for round 6. So, what else we got here? Next games to go. I don't think Stepdad's going to fucking dry his tears in time at this point.
No, I agree.
I think he might be a no-show this episode.
It's looking very much that way.
Yeah, okay. In that case, then we're going on straight onto the teams for round 7, and let's go. The Rabbitohs get a welcome bye, I'm sure. And we kick off on Thursday night with the Roosters taking on the Storms at Allianz Stadium. What are the changes here for the Roosters side? Tupanua. Oh, hang on. Look at that. We've just called him as not showing up for the episode because we're in the final fucking stretch. Look who it is. Stepdad's here. Say something, bitch. There we go.
Sorry, I'm late.
I was just checking your mic was working.
Sorry, I'm late. I didn't want to come.
I've been off seeing if it's possible for me to sabotage all fucking flights out of Sydney to New Zealand after the end of this season.
That's great work. I'm glad you said that because it basically just matches up with what we said, why we said you weren't around. You gotta love it. No consultation at all. And you fucking understood the assignment.
Oh, there we go.
All right, you can do all the talking from this point on. We're talking about the Storms.
Sorry to fucking inside baseball, but can I not see you for a reason?
Are you talking to me?
Yes. I can see Glennie in all his wondrous glory.
I can see myself in the Skype thing. So, I don't know. Can you see me, Glennie?
I can.
Yeah, okay.
I can see both.
It's you.
It's difficult to know who to jerk off to first, but I'll make up my mind.
There you go. Nice. Okay, so where are you guys up to?
Why not both, as the Mexican girl said in the taco commercial?
AltElPaso.gif.
Right.
We're just about to start talking about Roosters v Storm. first game
Okay.
of the next round.
Very nice.
So Roosters have Teddy, Egan Butcher, and a bunch of cunts in reserve, including Big Puppy, Big Nappy coming in, who's obviously come back from an extended stint of fingering his butthole and shadow boxing.
Fingers in my butthole. Fingers in my butthole. Fingers in.
Fingers in, fingers in, fingers in my butthole.
Yeah, it's a
No
great song.
Walker?
It should be interesting if they start singing that after the game if they win.
Well,
Yeah,
it would
particularly
be.
people knew what people knew what the real version actually is.
Yeah.
Let's just say it's something that they're more likely to sing in Toowoomba than anywhere else.
Or at
Toowoomba
Brian
and
Toppo's
Mississippi.
wedding.
Yes, correct. And the Storms, what's going on here? They got Big Nelson back in the side. I saw their socials and everything today, pumping up his return, which is kind of weird considering all the stories that he's fallen out with Bellamy and he's on thin ice there and all that sort of thing. But no, he's back and they're pumping it up. Storms versus the Roosters in Sydney. Still Storms for me.
Yeah, I still can't. Storm, very, very narrow favourites, $1.85 to $2 for the Roosters. And I think it'll be
Are
a
the
tough
Roosters
game.
really going
Teddy
that well?
back is... Well, I guess this game will
I feel
tell.
like the Roosters were they were anointed as one of the chosen sides this season before the season started. And now it just feels like, if they get a win, I mean, it's a very fucking sketchy win last week as well.
Yeah.
It's just like now the people who anointed them at the start of the season are just looking for any opportunity to go, see, I told you, they're still good.
Yeah. No, I think Storm 1-12.
The Dragons take on the Warriors at Wynn Stadium. Christian Tuipulotu makes his debut for the Dragons on the wing. Jack Bird is out. Warriors side. So Freddie's obviously still suspended. Fucking Freddie Lussick. He's the reason that O'Shea is suspended for what he and it's not even his fault. It's not even his fault either. It's Lachlan Elias's fault. If that comes, it's not even Lachlan Elias's fault. It's Lachlan Elias's mum's fault. If that fucking bitch had given him some milk when he was growing up,
maybe it's his dad's fault. If he'd have neglected his fucking duties like a normal man, she would have been fucking.
If he had come
getting free milk.
Yeah, well, if he, well, yeah. Or if he had just come back from the shop when he said he went to get the milk. I mean, yeah, it's just, this is the sort of shit that generational trauma can cause.
His name would be Lachlan Jones. His father was obviously out working hard.
Yes. Now, away game for the Warriors. Obviously, as we're talking about, like an incredible environment for their home games. Now, just the general, the loss that the fans had during that COVID period when they were stationed over here, they've really jumped on. I mean, like fans have been going pretty well in a lot of teams this season, and sort of last season as well. I think there's definitely been like an uptick in the game day experience and like people wanting to go to games again. But obviously, Warriors got a incredible vibe at the home game. Then they're going to go to the Dragons, where the Dragons will probably, their fans for the Wynn Stadium games, they do tend to show up for it. I mean, it is a soulless fucking, shithole, but they should have fans turning up there. I expect the Warriors to absolutely put it on the Dragons.
Yeah,
without mercy.
As a side
despite
note,
the outs.
Do you think the NRL has done anything? And you mentioned the game day experience. Do you think that is the reason people are going to games, or is it a post-COVID, appreciate the ability to go out sort of thing?
I would. It feels like we're getting pretty far away from that time though now. Hey, like far enough away that wouldn't necessarily be. And I don't think it's like, and I don't mean the game day experience is in like the clubs are doing stuff that's making it so much more awesome to go to games. I just think it just feels like people are just getting around footy more. Are just more excited to go to see the game.
It is hard to put your finger on, but I definitely agree with you, and I've heard it, from multiple, points in the game, whether it be, Matty Johns was one of the first people I heard say, you know, like rugby league's in a great spot at the moment. Crowds are up and standard of play is great. And I understand it's Abdo and, you know, Volandis' job to pump up the tyres of their product.
Yeah,
but,
that's it.
You know, they both said, you know, we're very happy with where rugby league and the NRL is at the moment, and just the general feel, like watching, you know, seeing the bigger crowds and seeing the atmosphere. It's great as a you know, lifelong fan of the sport. It's great to see it in a better position than it's ever been in.
Yep.
But having said that, the Dragons aren't going to be in a very good position come full time in this game, because I think the Wars are going to give them a fucking fair old toweling.
Yep.
Yeah,
agree.
The Dragons are overachieving at the moment. You know, still very early days.
Can't play the Tigers every week, mate.
But Jesus Christ, we're there already. You've given up already, Glennie.
No, I haven't given up on shit.
I hope not.
Season's
You've got a big
so
game,
full of
Glennie,
hope.
this week. You got a big game this week, Glennie. I hope you haven't given up.
No, it's all good. We always win that one, but you know, it just would have been nice to beat the fucking Dragons.
Yeah. But I think the Warriors win very, very easily. The Eels take on the Dolphins, and this is the yearly trek up north to Darwin for the Eels. And against the Dolphins this time, instead, as opposed to usually it's the Cowboys, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so against the Finns, and what do we got here?
Which is smart.
Ishmos is still out for him. Yep.
Which is smart because, you know, they took a home game to the fucking closest city to Cowboys territory.
Yeah, exactly. At this time of year too, where it hasn't actually, you know, it's starting to think about cooling down, but you know, not really.
That's it.
You know, still, and up there even more so. Now the Dolphins, what's their situation here in terms of injuries and whatnot? Yeah, okay, so Hammer's out, and
Big, yeah.
massive loss. You know, it's a massive loss in the middle of the game, but also then going into the next game with Trey Fuller at fullback.
Trey Fuller comes into the
situation.
side. He looks like a carpenter. I don't know much about Trey Fuller, and quite frankly, don't want to know. So I hate tipping Parramatta. Hate it with a passion, but cannot tip against him in this game.
What makes him look like a carpenter to you?
With the fact he's holding a hammer and he's got a tool belt, in my mind.
Are you playing Glennie's head dress ups with every player that we do?
Hey, look, you can't. I can't. We can't argue with what he's seeing in his mind. I mean, like,
Are we really going to start judging each other for the shit that pops into our heads? Is that what we're going to do, Jake? Because I've got the time if you have. I'll be in some extended therapy afterwards, but if I need to analyse what goes on between your two ears, my man, fucking your dad. That's for a whole nother podcast.
Okay, well, what's Sean Lane look like? Another carpenter?
No, he looks like an electrician, I'll be honest.
Okay.
I reckon he looks like a labourer for a concreter, but not the actual concreter, like who actually knows how to do the framework and everything.
Yeah.
And work with the Rio. Like he's just the dumb cunt that fucking
That's what he does, during working hours, and then he leaves his, labouring job.
And just stands back there going, "Oh, it's creamy. Oh, she's creamy this time." That's a concreter thing.
Oh, is
and
it?
Commenting on the creaminess of the batch of concrete they've just had. The concrete truck.
But then in his hobby afterwards.
Look, if there's any concrete listening to the show, they will confirm.
It's
what I'm
creamy.
saying is true.
That is creamy.
What's not creamy? Like, is it frothy or?
Oh, I don't know.
It's dry.
I don't know.
What's the opposite of creamy?
I haven't been present. All I know is that, like, my driveway was creamy when it went down like this. Yeah, so many years ago. Did not hear did not hear any commentary when the surroundings around the pool went in. I didn't hear any commentary on the creaminess. So was it creamy? Well, I mean, it was like aggregate, so I guess it was like that's obviously not creamy. But yeah, look, I don't know. We need concreters to fucking weigh in on that one.
Anyway, Parramatta.
Wait, doesn't Bryce Gibbs do concreting now? Maybe get him on the line.
Or not.
Parramatta will win this game.
Oh, by a billion. Yep. The Panthers take on the West Tigers. This is the yearly Bathurst trek for the Panthers. And what have we got here? Why am I not seeing Cleary named in the side? Stepdad?
Because Schneider has been named in.
I thought he was back after the... I thought he was coming back. I thought he was almost a chance to play before the bye.
Yeah, he was. Apparently, it's just on a second opinion. They've been advised not to rush him.
Right. And like Luai's been named as well, but so he's all right then. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
And Fisher Harris has been named despite his absolute treachery. The West Tigers. Galvin's back, which, thankfully for Glen's mental health, means that Bud Sullivan is out.
Worst player in there, Narrow. Bud Sullivan. Been saying it all year.
Yeah. It was a revelation this episode. Yep. This episode we had Kurt Mann has been deposed, and there's a new sheriff in town.
Has somebody notified Kurt that he's been kicked out of the royal family?
Rumours are Kurt's pretty happy with the idea.
Okay.
Tigers heavy outsiders, $4.90. I don't know what these bookies are doing. They're not. They know nothing. They know nothing about rugby league.
Yeah, points bet. I'm seeing the West Tigers actually touching $5.
Well, these bookies don't subscribe to the fact that a tiger would beat a panther. That could be the only explanation for it, Glennie.
Love it. Look, Bathurst is a place where cars and there's a lot of car wrecks, a lot of accidents, and I think you'll see an accident
with the Forbes Ferrari
full time in this game, and an accident to upset the NRL universe. The West Tigers will win in Bathurst like they always do.
Have the Tigers won in Bathurst, Glennie? I can't remember.
We did fucking last year, cunt.
Was that the Bathurst game, was it?
That was illegitimate joy.
That was illegitimate joy at Origin time, wasn't it? Was that at Bathurst? They didn't take the Bathurst game out then, would they?
Yeah.
No, it was Bathurst.
No, it was. It was in pissing rain at Bathurst.
They shortchanged the good people of Bathurst by giving them a fucking Origin-affected encounter.
Do you remember what we said last year? There are no good people in Bathurst. They're all fucking cunts.
No wonder fucking country rugby league is dying. If this is what they're doing.
Well, it's like Glenn's favourite comment to leave on Instagram. God's failed them twice. So not only did they get the fucking Bathurst game, the Origin game with no actual players, but they gave them the Tigers to watch as well.
Yeah, it's true.
So. It's no less than the absolute scourge of society of the people that inhabit that fucking shithole deserve.
What's the fucking deal with Bathurst, Glennie?
Fuck
Bathurst have they got a robust and vibrant Malaysian exchange student policy?
Did you have the touring cars roll into fucking Aids one day and steal your girl or something when you were growing up? And take her back to Mount Panorama. I mean,
touring cars in heads. They wouldn't pull up. They'd have to do like a
they'd be on blocks inside 20 minutes.
Fucking police. Did I tell you? A mate of mine that I grew up with used to say, two things. Never understood why, Formula One teams don't just recruit their fucking pit crews from Eds. It's like, why there's no traffic lights in Eds? It's like, fucking thing goes red. Every car's up on blocks by the time the cunt goes green. Ain't nobody stopping in Eds. Never seen anything like it. If everyone raves about these Ferrari pit crew, they haven't seen fucking 5 bogans from Eds fucking rip the wheels off a fucking Tirana. Anyway, in summary, Tigers will win. Fuck Bathurst. And
Yep.
every single person that lives there.
All right, Titans taking on the mighty Manly Seas Eagles at Hope Solo Coliseum down in Robina, and Glennie, as I ask you when
that's
when
why
your
you're
team's
down
in
the
town.
Gold Coast. That's
That
why
is
you're
why I'm
down the Gold Coast.
That's why I'm down the Gold Coast. I'm going to watch the fucking mighty
Did
Manly Seas
we establish
Eagles.
if you're not down there Friday night?
To be decided. So I'll let you know.
Jesus Christ!
It might be a game time decision.
Your favourite fucking
This one.
Twins in town?
That is true. Now, this is a dangerous game because the Titans still haven't won a game yet, and
Fucking dangerous.
they're getting closer.
Shut
They're getting
up.
closer to the win. A big Desi revenge game as well. Got to say, and Kieran Foran for that matter. And also our forward stock's taken a massive hit with a fucking injury and a suspension. Right, and we didn't need it. I mean, alleviated by the return of Matt Lodge, who apparently has been ready to come back in for about a month, so he should be good to go from the jump. But
Hang on,
there's going to be some players. Yes,
Oh yeah, he used to. Sorry, missed it.
and
Right
there is gonna have to be some big minutes done by the likes of Taniela Paseka and Matthew Lodge, because our bench is fucking thin, and the only thing that makes me feel better about our bench is looking at the Titans bench. But
or in turn, the entire Titans side.
that number 16.
well, yeah,
it's happened.
like
It's happened.
When I look at well, he was there last week too, and he actually lost. Didn't lose this game because we didn't lose, but he actually lost. They lost the middle in that period when he was on. The idea is to kind of be like a bit of a Desi actually, and you just leave him on the bench as long as you can, and which says a lot for like some of these guys down at Blacktown, like Itasi James and Ben Condon and who's the other fucking guy, Austin Diaz. Like, if they can't get themselves
Past.
like my feeling is like you could tell one of those young guys you're banned from offloading. Just look at their stats in Reggie's, and whichever one misses the least tackles, you're the guy. Tuck the ball under your fucking arm, cover it with the other arm. All you're doing is running forward and playing the ball. You're banned to fucking offload. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
I need 15 minutes of that out of you, and surely that is going to be at a higher level than fucking Woodsy, but yeah, it is what it is. I also know for a fact that one of the players on our bench is not going to be playing in the game, and so one of the players from outside of the 17 is going to be coming in, which we're going to be light on the bench in terms of like size and.
Anyway, who wins, Manly?
Fuck
The
me,
Titans.
dead cunt. You're playing
Honestly-
Titans. Shut up.
Honestly, I mean, like when you look at the 1 to 7, you just go fucking. It's like the best 1 to 7 in the comp at the moment. I mean, we got Saab back, we got fucking Gaz come back into the side as well. Tommy Tolau played really well last week and cemented his position, which means that Jackson Paulo has been dropped. And honestly, that alone, the plus minus on that is probably a couple of tries right there. So look, we might win this one 36-22 or something like that. But yeah, look, I mean, I expect to win, obviously, and the more the better. Fuck the Titans. Well, I'll be catching up with our friend Norts down there on the weekend too, so...
Very nice.
Yeah, hope they fucking lose for him. Him and only him. The Broncos take on the Raiders at Suncorp Stadium on Saturday night. This is an interesting one because the Raiders have overperformed expectations, I think, thus far, to the point where I was feeling like they would demolish the Titans, and like territorially and possession wise, when we spoke about, they did, but their attack, I thought it would be a lot better. I mean, their ability to convert field position and tons of tackles in like the 20 into points was fucking non-existent, really.
Yeah.
And they could have very easily lost that game if the Titans could kick a fucking goal. So
Broncos, lot of running in that Raiders backline, and Fogarty, he's come a long way as an organising half, but he doesn't get a lot of help. Like, Strange is a young fellow whose absolute strength to his game is running the football, and just not enough experience to build the type of pressure and field position off the back of what Fogarty's doing, because they're all young and full of running. So I think this is going to be potentially match of the round. Should be a high quality game.
Yep.
I think
hopefully Canberra bring their attack, you know.
Yeah, Broncos at home for me though.
I expect the Broncos to win. I'm just interested to see how, you know, if Canberra are the side that could score tries from anywhere like they did against the Raiders the week before, or if they're going to build all this pressure and have nothing to fucking show from it. Because you know, the Broncos, they can defend their goal line pretty well, and as we saw against the Dolphins, the winning of that game was, you know, defending their goal line pretty well, and when they got like an error or something like that, they'd run it in for a fucking try instantly.
Yeah, that's
you know, so that's the sort of stuff that makes the Raiders crumble. Doggies take on the Knights. The Doggies are inching closer. Certainly a lot more solid. Lacking a bit of leadership at crucial times. Knights have come close to, you know, their record is they're probably not as bad as their win-loss record is. I mean, there's a couple of, you know, close 2-point sort of games in there.
Agreed.
So it's a tough one. It's a tough one to pick. I mean, you would expect if Newcastle played the way they did last week, or even some of their other close losses. I mean, you think that they'd comfortably be able to outscore the Dogs.
Very close in the betting. Newcastle very slight favourites at $1.85 to $2 for the Dogs, but I just think Jackson Hastings. We spoke about the Bulldogs being void of an organising seven that can direct and get the best out of some of the talent in other positions in that side.
They've named 2 sevens in their squad.
How so?
They've named Connor Tracy at fullback.
Yes. And
Drew Hutchinson in the 7.
Yeah, well, and Drew Hutchinson, I put it to you that he's not a 7 in any fucking shape or form. And you got sexy. You got sexy there in the number 19. So does that mean he's inching closer, you know, to getting the inevitable run that he's going to get? Yeah, because this is the thing. I mean, maybe Connor Tracy becomes their long-term 7 when Taffy's back to go back to fullback. You know, maybe that's the way they're going to play it, and they're just going to keeping Tracy in the first grade run on side just to keep him in the game.
I think the Bulldogs have probably come just far enough this season so far to keep the score relatively close, but I expect Newcastle to win.
I'm going to take the Dogs in an upset.
Oh, big call.
Hey, look, I don't hate it. Because fuck the Knights. I mean, frankly.
Like, if there was a last man standing comp, I'm not going near this game.
No fucking way. No. Not at all. I mean, in that game, you're clearly taking, the Panthers over the Tigers, right?
Yes. Clearly.
Yeah. Well, obviously. I mean, it's the obvious choice, Clenny. They're going to prove me wrong. They're going to back up. Because let's look, I know they've got that, that good win in Bathurst last year, but what they don't have is they don't have Luke Brooks, the Panther killer. So the Panther whisperer. The Panthers haven't defeated Luke Brooks in over 2 years. the man has he has the power. He is their father.
Luke Brooks has climbed Broke-Panth Mountain.
Luke Brooks' ability to destroy big cats of any variety is unparalleled.
Exactly. That's it. Okay, so the last game of the round, the Sharks take on the Cowboys, and this one's taking place at Reclaim Australia Stadium over there at the Shire. And what do we got here for the Sharkies? Sione Katoa is out, and they bring in Samuel Stone Street to the wing. North Queensland Cowboys side, Talangi is out, and so Semi Valame comes in. This is actually a good battle between two sides that I don't know what the fuck they're about yet.
Yeah.
And normally we've got it sorted out by this stage, but Cronulla with their soft draw and weird sort of shootout scorelines versus the Cowboys who absolutely pumped some teams. But then last week they were pretty lackluster in going down to an understrength Eels side.
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the Sharks at home. Slight favourites they are too, but a little bit.
They look to be fairly substantial favourites. What I'm looking at here, like $1.65 to $2.25 on PointsBet.
Yeah, I got $1.69 to $2.16, but I was disappointed in the Cowboys last week.
Are we getting sponsored by any of these companies?
No.
I just like to gamble. Responsibly, of course.
We're just saying numbers. Look, you got to favour the Sharks at home. A long away game for the Cowboys, and traditionally, forever they've not been great. Yep. Exhibit A last week. But look, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if the Sharks, because the Cronulla Sharks could fucking leak points. So it wouldn't surprise me to see the Cowboys, beat them, or turn it into another one of these shootout kind of games. But man, I don't. It's hard. I don't know what to make of either of these sides. These are the two sides of the comp, and to a much lesser extent, someone like the Raiders. I don't know what to make of them yet. And I guess we'll have hopefully some answers out of this game.
We'll see Sunday.
And one thing we do know is that Nico is going to get 5 or 6 Dally M points out of this, no matter what the fuck he does. I can't remember where I saw it now. I wish I could fucking give him credit. Fuck, who was it? But they're basically saying if you look at the stats, and it's like, who was the other player? It wasn't Tanner Boyd, because Tanner Boyd's fucking a dumpster of a player. Fucking who was it? Was it Tyson Gamble? They're saying you look at his stats versus Nico's stats for the season, and
he's a better player. Yeah,
they're literally the same player.
Wow.
Except,
man, again, look, the Dally M is not made for us. It's made for casuals to pump up the celebrity players, and we need to be at peace with that.
Little kids call out the fucking player's name before they throw up a bomb or something in the backyard.
That's it.
That sort of shit. So that's it. Now, there's a I don't know if it's going to be a regular segment or whatever, but I put it out there on the Facebook group last week to James. Has been giving us sporadic reports of how badly Noffa is doing over in the English Super League, and
Fantastic.
So I said to him, listen, put something together and I'll run it. And so he did. He sent me a package, which is a highlight of the first couple of games of the season of Noffa's, I guess, lowlights really. I mean, but yeah. So if you want to, if you are a Noffa aficionado, like we all are, and you want to know what he's been up to in the English Super League, take a listen to this. And it's our first first ever Noffa watch. And if you like it, then let us know, and especially in the Facebook group, because then James will also see it. And if you like it, let us know, and you might get some more. Particularly if Noffa keeps stacking the accolades over in the English Super League, like the way he's been doing at the moment. It's quite spectacular.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Noffa Watch. Game 1. Noffa announced his arrival to Super League by letting in 3 tries, including a match winner against 12-men Wigan. Game 2. Game 2 of Noffa Watch, there was nothing to watch because Noffa had been dropped. Game 3. Noffa was determined to prove himself by letting his opposite winger score 4 tries as Jacob Miller's led Castleford team get their first win in 7 games. After only 2 games, his own fans are now starting to turn on Noffa, wanting to know who is this fuckhead and why doesn't he stay on his wing. That's all for Noffa Watch this week, and back to the studio.
Okay, and that is it for episode 546 of This Week in League.
Fuck
And
yeah.
any final words?
That was a fucking easy one.
Yeah, that
feel
was
like-
that was Woodsy-esque. That was a mediocre 20-minute stint.
I tell you, I wouldn't knock back the suggestion if we said, how about we just talk about the scores, talk about who we're tipping, and give no reasons why we're doing it, and then fuck off.
Yeah, well, I mean, Glennie and myself did get through the games pretty fucking handily tonight. I gotta
Fuck
say,
yeah, good shit.
I even did some socials, and I gotta tell you, that's a difficult job at times
To find
Yeah.
the actual
to find the ones to
common
say.
sense ones.
If you ever pull the pin, Jay, if you ever pull the pin, we're all pulling the pin because ain't nobody doing that
No
shit.
more social.
Yeah. Right, that is it. And thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Later.
See ya.